Everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jay. If this is your first time here, welcome to Wallet and Style. This channel is all about having clarity with your numbers, reaching your financial goals, and buying the things that you love. And around here, we like to talk about luxury goods. So this video is going to be on how to deal with buyer's remorse, and I'm also going to share with you some tips. So I have here my notebook. This is where I keep all of my notes for my YouTube videos, and I want to make sure that I am organized and I'm giving you as much information as possible. So before we get started, I will share with you my personal story when it came to having buyer's remorse. So when I started collecting luxury goods, this was about 10 years ago, and I believe I started my channel around 2017, if I'm not mistaken. At that time, this is where a lot of the luxury handbags, like channels were coming up, and they were great because it was a way for us to really get like, exposed to different brands and, the silhouettes and the colors and the designs and how it worked. I mean, it was awesome. I loved it. And at that time, when I was starting out, I really didn't know too much about certain brands, although I was kind of obsessed at that time with Chanel because I knew that if I were to invest in Chanel, it will retain its value over time. And that is still the case. So I was very particular about the brand, and I wanted the caviar leather, and I wanted something in the with the gold hardware. So this particular bag was the It bag about 10 years ago. Everybody had it, everybody was talking about it. The pictures were great, the reviews were fantastic, but you couldn't find a bag. So whether you bought it brand new or pre-loved, I mean, it was like a mystery. It was gone. So the bag that I am talking about was the Chanel GST in the caviar leather tote. This was that tote that everybody had. It was great. I mean, I can't even tell you, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. I don't have a Chanel tote. This is going to work for my lifestyle. I want it. Well, I researched the bag for about a week, meaning like trying to look for it. I couldn't find it. I called Chanel boutiques. I mean, it was a little insane. It got to the point where it was like a little obsessive. So because everybody had it and this hype was going on about the bag, I just needed to have it. And so when I finally did find it, which I found it on Fashion File, so I'll make sure to insert a picture here of my receipt, you can see that I bought the bag in October of 2016, and I paid $2,605 for the bag. And I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get the package. And then when I did get the package and I opened the box, a lot of you can relate. I took the bag out and I said, what the flip? Okay. I knew instantly that this was not going to work for me. But because it was a tote, because it was Chanel, and not to mention that it was in the silver hardware, not the gold hardware. So it just gave me more reason to just feel awful about buying this and instantly having that buyer's remorse, because I just had that feeling. We as women, we just have that feeling. We just know. And I completely avoided my gut feeling. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to make it work. I was extremely stubborn about it. And I just said, screw it. So I started using the bag, and I noticed right off the bat that the straps were too short for my body frame. I'm like 5'7", but I have broader shoulders. And so the strap kept coming off my shoulder, one strap, okay? Not both, one. And it was just so annoying. And I started using this bag probably like in the early spring, which is strange because I kept it for all that time. But I was just annoyed with it. I really wasn't working well with the straps. And not to mention that because it was a tote, that particular toe is extremely structured. It's not like a Louis toe or any other toe where you just throw things in there and go. This was one that you had to kind of baby it a little bit. It had that zipper in the middle. It was just getting a little too complex for my lifestyle, and I was just not happy with it. I then just left it in my collection, and I'll insert pictures where you can see it. This is when I started my collection. It was just there collecting dust. So I had to just make something with it, right? Whether I was going to fix it or I was going to sell it. So I ended up going to a handbag doctor, and pretty much they just said we can add something to make the straps a little bit longer, but that's not going to guarantee that it's going to fix the problem. So because I am stubborn, I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. So why not, Jay? Like, just keep wasting money. So I went ahead and got it fixed, and I paid $160 for that. And at this point, the bag, let's just say around, it cost me like $2,800. And I picked it up, and guess what? Same issue. So the problem was not resolved. I was still having issues with it. And I just said, it's time to give this up. So after all those months, I just realized I had to sell it. So I'm going to give you some details. So I bought the bag for 2,605. I spent 160 to fix it, and I sold it. So again, $2,800 just to make it clean. And I sold it for $2,200. So right off the bat, I lost over $500 with this bag. Not to mention that when I sold it, you have to pay the eBay fee. I sold it on eBay. I had to pay for the fee, and I had to pay for some shipping. So what hit my bank account was probably like $2,100, which was like, I was so upset with myself. I should have done that. I should have sold it and not fixed it to begin with. But I just said to myself, one and done, don't do that again. And so now I make rules for myself. So I'm going to share with you some tips. So here's tip number one is to sleep on it. Okay. Don't do what I did. I bought the hype. I just went ahead and used my credit card. I remember, I think I was at work. I was like at lunch, and I found it, and I just paid for it without like really thinking about it. So like, give yourself at least 3 days to think about the bag before you make that decision, because we're talking about thousands of dollars, especially if you're buying like the Chanel, Zero and Louis Vuitton. Like, this is real money, guys. So make sure that you sleep on it. Okay. And let me just add to that. Sleep on it and limit your social media, because when a bag is like super hot and everybody has it, it's all over all social media platforms, and you just see it everywhere. So if you're looking at a particular bag because you like it because everybody has it or celebrities wearing it or using it, rather, make sure that you just limit your social media with the bag and sleep on it. Okay, tip number two is to never buy the hype, buy the bag. So if a celebrity is not, talking about this bag or wearing the bag or whatever it is, it's everywhere on social media, are you still going to buy it just because, you know, it's the hype or because it's the bag? So make sure that you understand that before you making a purchase, for sure, because you want to make sure that you still want it, right? Even if it's not anywhere, do you still want the bag? All right, tip number three is, does it fit your lifestyle? Going back to my experience, I live in a state where we have the four seasons, and it just wasn't working for me. That tote was just making me stress out. It's bad enough that sometimes in the morning we're rushing out the door, and now I have to worry about this tote because it's just not working for me. And here in the winter, it's brutal sometimes. So having a heavy coat with that tote and struggling to make it just sit on your shoulder. I mean, for me and my shoulder, it just didn't work. So make sure that it fits your lifestyle, because I find that environment definitely is important when it comes to these bags. Okay, and tip number four is to research the resale value before you buy it. So if you're going to buy, for example, a Chanel, find out what the price is now and see what it's selling for. So if it's very similar, you're probably in a safe zone, but make sure that the brand or the particular silhouette is something that you can resell. So for example, like Prada is a brand that I personally like a lot, but the resale value is just not there. So sometimes you'll spend like $2,000 for a Prada bag, and then you see that it's reselling for like half of that. I mean, it happens. So just make sure that you do your research and you find out the resale value. Okay, and tip number five is probably one of my favorites, and this is the 5-year test. So, meaning that in 5 years from when you purchase it, are you going to use the bag? As I've gotten older, now that I am officially in my early 40s, oh my goodness, um, I want to make sure that I can grow with these bags. I want to make sure that I can use it in my late 40s, early 50s. So, do you see yourself wearing, using the silhouette in the next 5 years. Okay, and tip number 6 is, can you afford it? This is why I wanted to come back to social media and talk about this stuff, because as much as I love luxury goods, we don't want to be broke. You don't want to look cute and be broke. Nobody wants that. Okay, so you want to be cute, have the luxury goods, and have money in your bank account and have investments and all that stuff. Okay, so we want to make sure we cover all bases. So this is why I talk so much about having clarity with your numbers. Make sure that it works for your budget. It's not going to impact, you not paying a bill, your rent, your car note, whatever it is. So please make sure that you have the money, because when it comes to luxury goods, there's no rush. And this is another thing that I learned when I bought this, and when I bought this bag. When it comes to certain brands, it's not going anywhere, okay? Especially the Chanels and the Louis, they will always be around for a very, very long time. So don't get crazy. Make sure you save up so then you can buy the bag. Okay, if you are already in this situation, here are some sort of like tips slash guidelines. The first thing is to give it a real chance. So I say give it 2 weeks. If you have a bag right now that you kind of feel like, oh my God, that was a huge mistake, wear it for the next 2 to 4 weeks. Okay, don't wait like I did for over 6 months to use the bag and then realize it. Excuse me, wait 6 months to not use the bag and then use it and then resell it. Like, don't wait that long. I think 2 weeks is good, because if you use it every day, if you use it at night or on the weekends or when you travel, give it a real chance to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then you can decide. The other thing is to sell it, right? So if it's not working, do what I did, just take the loss. If you lost some money, you learn from the experience and you just know, I'm not going to do that again. So don't wait like I did, just get rid of it. And use the money wisely, allocate the money. I just talked about this in my last video that I did about the case study. Like, just don't leave money in your bank account without giving it a name. So when I sold the bag and I got my money, I'm going to share with you what I did. But before that, I just want to say the last thing is to just, again, create some kind of rule or guidelines for yourself, right? Like, just be intentional about it going forward and make sure that you don't do that again. So if you experience buyer's remorse, it sucks. I know, I've been there. We all have been there. So just deal with it, face it, and move on. That's all you can do. All right. So that being said, when I got the money in my bank account, which was like, I don't know, $2,100, I ended up buying another bag, and I also ended up paying off other debt. So at the end, I guess I have like a positive story to this, but it still sucked that I lost like over $500. So the bag that I bought is this gorgeous Chanel medallion tote in the gold hardware. You can see that I absolutely love my Chanel's with the gold hardware. I love this tote. I got it probably in 2017. I'm just going to move back so you can see it. And it was in excellent condition. Everything was just perfect about this bag. And I got this for, I think it was under $1,200. I got it on eBay. And as of now, and I'm filming this video in June of 2026, the bag is going anywhere between $1,500 to over $2,000, depending on the condition. But this one was excellent. It's super clean inside, and I definitely use this bag. I don't use it as much because now, as I'm getting a little bit older, I'm moving more towards a collector versus just buying handbags. I baby this one, but I really do love this bag, and it's just great. And you can see how a tote like this works so well for me, because again, my shoulders tend to be a little bit broader. And just a side note, I'm sorry, I took off my nails. Okay, I got into the gel manicure for years because it was driving me insane. I didn't have time, but I just recently got an allergic reaction, and I just said, screw it. Okay, I'm not going to say what I want to say. But I am giving up on that, and I'm going to let my natural nails grow. So I apologize if they don't look as polished. But yeah, that's something else we can talk about, because I did the math on how much money I was spending, and it was ridiculous. So I'd rather spend my money on this. Anyway, so this is the bag, and I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to let you know that I will be excuse me, I will be doing a how to buy luxury vintage handbags series. So I'm going to put together about 3 or 4 videos. And if you like all this stuff of like Chanel vintage and Louis, make sure you stick around because I will be talking about beauties just like this. And I love it all. All right, guys. So that is it for this video. I hope that it was helpful. Don't beat yourself up. Please trust me. I've been there. I get it. But let me know what else you can share with the community. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Come hang out and subscribe. Check out in the description box how we can work together and my social media as I am testing this out in 2026. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you on my next video.